Hello and welcome to this Functional Skills Maths Practice Paper 1 Level 1. And we're going to be showing you how to do the answers for Section A and Section B, but we're going to be starting with Section A, which is no calculators. You have 25 minutes and 15 marks available. Now, I'll show you the methods that we use in the class to solve these, but your methods may be different. For example, there's more than one way to multiply two numbers together, and I will try and show you some of those methods just to mix things up for you. Okay, let's start then with question 1. 7 plus 3 times 4. And this is testing your knowledge of BIDMAS. So we know division and multiplication are together, so there's no brackets, no indices. Division and multiplication we do first. So it becomes 7 plus 12, and then we know that's 19. So for 1 mark, 19 on the answer line. Question 2. 125.5 divided by 5. So can you do short division? So 5 divides into 125.5. 5 doesn't go into the 1, carry the 1. 5 goes into 12 twice, remainder 2. 5 goes into 25 5 times. Don't forget your decimal points line up, and then 5 goes into 5 once. So your answer is 25.1. Question 3 is asking us to round the answer to question 2 to the nearest whole number. So we have 25.1 and the whole numbers are here. So to look at the next one along, you decide whether to go up or stay with the 5. And because it's less than 5 here, we keep the 5 as a 5. So rounded to the nearest whole number is 25. Question 4 is asking us to draw a triangle that has one angle larger than 90 degrees. So the way to do this is to first draw two lines where an angle is greater than 90 degrees. So once you've drawn your lines greater than 90 degrees, so this line here and this line here are greater than 90 degrees, just connect the two ends of the line to create your triangle. And you can see here we've created a triangle with an angle that is greater than 90 degrees. It doesn't have to be accurate. You don't have to write down what the angle is. Question 5 is asking us to write the following numbers in order of the smallest first, and it's given us 4 decimals to sort. Now the trick with this is to make all the decimals the same length. So our longest decimal has 3 decimal places. So let's make them all 3 decimal places long so that we can compare like with like. So we're comparing 700 with 60 with 637 and 670. So the smallest number we've got is 60. So 0.06 is my lowest number. Then 637 is the next lowest number. Then the 670, which is 0.67. And then finally the 700, which is 0.7. So this is the correct order from the smallest first. Question 6 is asking us to calculate the product of two numbers. So it wants us to multiply 47 with 93. And there's various ways of doing this. So one of the ways we've shown you is the grid method. So we have 47 and we're going to multiply it by 93. So we break up the tens and the units and then we just multiply the individual numbers and then put the zeros in. So 9 times 4 is 36 with 2 zeros. 4 times 3 is 12 with 1 zero. 7 nines are 63 with the 1 0, and 7 threes are 21. Add each of the two columns, so we end up with 3720 and 651, and then add these two numbers together. And you end up with 4,371. Question 7. A journey starts at 11:23 and takes 78 minutes. What time does the journey finish? So we can use our step method for this. so we have 11:23 as our start time. And if we take off 60 minutes, which is an hour, we can add 1 hour to our start time to get 12:23. And that leaves 18 minutes left to add on. So add on another 18 minutes and you end up with 12:41. So our finish time is 12:41. Question 8 states that there's a loan for £387.25 and it needs to be repaid with 35% interest. Calculate an estimate for the total amount of interest that will need to be repaid. So this word here dictates what we do with these numbers. Estimate means make the maths easy. So 387.25 is close to £400. 35% is close to 40%. So let's just calculate 40% of the £400 to make the maths really easy. Now, whenever you do percentage questions in the non-calculator paper, you should be thinking of the 10% rule. So we know 10% of 400 is £40 because we divide it by 10. So 40% must be 4 lots of the 40, which is £160. So our estimate for the interest is £160. Question 9. Which is larger, 4/5 or 75%? Well, we know 75% means 75 over 100, and 4/5 can be made equivalent to something over 100 by changing its denominator to 100. So what do I do to go from 5 to 100? Well, I multiply it by 20, and if I do the same to the numerator, then I get 80 over 100. So the bigger number is the 4/5. Question 10 is quite straightforward and it's asking us for the name of the shape. Well, the shape has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, so we call that a pentagon. Now, it looks like all of the sides are the same length, so for a smarty point, you could put that it's a regular pentagon. In other words, the 5 sides are all the same length. Question 11 is asking us to share £60 in the ratio of 5 to 7. Now, the £60 is going to be split between the two, so it's a total, so it goes off to the right, and our ratio is 5 to 7. Now, when you have a totals ratio, you need the total number of your parts. You divide the total amount by the total number of parts, and it gives you your scale of 5. So we go back to our ratio, and we multiply each side by 5 to get the two amounts. We can check that the two amounts are right by adding them together, so they make 60. So the amounts split in the ratio are £25 and £35, giving us our total of 60 that's been split in the ratio of 5 to 7. Question 12 is asking us to calculate the volume of a cube. Now, you need to remember the properties of a cube. In other words, all of the sides are the same length. So in order to get our volume, we have to multiply the 3 dimensions. So dimension 1, dimension 2, dimension 3. So it becomes 4 times 4 times 4. Now, it's the non-calculator paper, so we can break this down into small bite-sized chunks, and we can do 4 times 4, which is 16, times 4. This time, we'll use the traditional method for multiplication. 6 4s are 24, 4 times 1 is 4, plus a 2 is 6. So our answer is 64. The units are centimetres, and because it's volume and there are 3 dimensions, we have to remember the cube. So 64 centimetres cubed for your mark. Question 13a. One day there were 1,200 visitors to a theme park. 4/5 of them go on all of the rides. Calculate how many visitors go on all of the rides. So it's a fraction of an amount. 4/5 of the 1200. Now, the way to do fractions of an amount, don't do that, do this. So we have 1200 divided by 5 to give us the result of this part of our calculation. 5 doesn't go into 1, carry the 1. 5 goes into 12 twice, remainder 2, and 5 goes into 20 4 times. So we end up with 240 as the answer to this bit of our problem. It then becomes 4 times 240. 240 times 4 using the traditional method. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 4s are 16. 4 2s are 8, plus the 1 is 9. So, 960 visitors go on all of the rides. 13b. On the same day, 5% of the visitors don't go on any rides at all. Calculate the number of visitors that don't go on any rides. So we want 5% of the 1200. So it's a percentage. We use our 10% rule in non-calculator questions. So 10% of 1200 is 120. We just divide the 1200 by 10. Then, to get our 5%, we can just divide this by 2 to give us 60 visitors. So 60 visitors don't go on any rides at all. Question 14. Write 4 3/7 as a top-heavy fraction. The way to do this is the denominator multiplies the whole number, so 4 times 7 is 28, plus the 3 you've already got gives us a numerator of 31. The 31 still needs to be divided by the denominator 7. So 4 3/7 as an improper fraction or a top-heavy fraction is 31 over 7. And that completes section A, the non-calculator section of our paper 1 at level 1. Now let's look at section B, where we're allowed to use our calculator, and we have 1 hour 20 minutes to do this section. There are 45 marks available. Now with this section, because we're allowed to use our calculator, we can put our calculations straight into one of these. So, other than basic addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, I will show you how to put various calculations into your calculator when we get to the trickier stuff. Okay, let's start, where Layla and 4 friends are going on a holiday to Spain, and they're planning their holiday. Layla uses a website to compare the holiday prices. The table below shows the prices for 3 different apartments. Write down the cheapest 1-week price. So we need to go down this column of 1-week prices and select the cheapest, which is this one. So write down the cheapest 1-week price is £973.20. Part B wants us to calculate the difference between Rio's 1-week price and its 2-week price. So the 2-week price is 1786.5, and we need to take off 973.2. Do this on your calculator, I won't show you how, and you get the correct answer, which should be 813.3. This is what your calculator will show you. So remember, when you're going from the calculator to writing the answer as money, you need your 2 decimal places. So you need 813.30 as the difference between the 2 prices for Rio for the 1-week and 2-week prices. Part C says 5 friends each have £445 to spend on their holiday. So there's 5 friends with £445. They each need £250 spending money. They want to go on the holiday for 1 week. Tick the apartments they can afford. So the first thing to do is, from the 445 they each have, take away the spending money that they want. And this leaves you with the travel money that each should have. Notice I'm not using the column method. Always use your calculator in section B. Don't do any calculations manually. You might get them wrong. Leave it to the calculator. So now each one has £195 to spend on the apartment, and there are 5 of them. So again, put this in your calculator. So they have £975 to spend on an apartment for 1 week. So go back to your table and see which ones they can afford. Well, the £975 means they can only afford the Rio for 1 week. They can't afford the Seaview or Keenan's. So the only box you can tick for the answer is Rio. Question 2. The friends decide to book an apartment for 1 week. The apartments now have special offers. Keenan's special offer is a quarter of the £1,226. Seaview is £75 off the £994.45. And finally, Rio has 5% off the £973.20. Calculate the new price for Keenan's. So it's a quarter of the 1226. 1/4 of 1,226. And we can put this in our calculator as it looks. Let me show you. We have 1/4, so use the fraction button. Put the 1 on the numerator, drop down on the rocker switch, 4 as the denominator, move the rocker to the right, times, and then the 1226. So it looks exactly like our question. Press equals, and it gives us the answer in an improper fraction. So press the SD button to get it as a decimal, and you end up with 306.5. So that's the answer you write down on your paper. 306.5 is the answer to this problem. Now we have to take it off our original price. So 1226, take away 306.5. Again, do this on your calculator. Don't take any chances. Gives us 919.5 on our calculator. So putting this into a money value, it becomes £919.50. Don't forget the second decimal place for money. Part B is asking us to calculate the new price for Rio. So when you go back up to the table with the discounts, you can see there is 5% off the price of the Rio holiday, which was £973.20. So we need to work out 5% of 973.20. And again, you can do this straight away on your calculator. So on the calculator, do 5%, so 5, shift button, the percent button, of means multiply, and then 973.2, and you don't have to put the 0 in, but you can if you want. Press equals and SD, and that's your answer as a decimal, 48.66. So that's your discount. So now you have your 973.20. Take off your discount, and it tells you how much the Rio holiday costs. And on the calculator, you get 924.54. So it's already got the 2 decimal places. So the amount for Rio is 924.54. Part C is asking us which of the 3 apartments is the cheapest after the special offers. So we've calculated the first and the third. We've done Keenan's and we've done Rio. So we need to work out the cost of Seaview before we can compare all 3. So in order to decide, we have to work out the discounted price for Seaview, which was £994.45 take away a £75 discount. Do this on your calculator and you get £919.45 as the cost for Seaview. So now we have the cost of Seaview. We can compare it to Keenan's and to Rio. So Keenan's was £919.50 and Rio was 92454. So the cheapest by a whole 5 pence is Seaview. Question 3. Question 3 is about the weather, where Layla looks at the temperature forecasts for the 2 weeks at her apartment, and there's a table with the temperatures for week 1 in the table below. So on the table below we've got the days, Saturday through to Friday, and the minimum and maximum temperatures. And all we need to do are answer the questions underneath. So which day had the highest minimum temperature? So can we read a table? The minimum temperatures are here, and the highest minimum temperature is 22 degrees C. So which day, so answer the question, which day had the highest minimum temperature? It's Monday. Part B says, which days had the greatest difference between the minimum and maximum temperature? So the difference means take the highest temperature, which is 30, take away 19, and that leaves 11 degrees C difference. So we'll kind of add our own little column here at the end to keep a note of the differences. So 26, take away 15. Now, don't forget this is paper 2, so you can do this on your calculators, is 11 degrees C. 31, take away 22 is 9 degrees C. 27 take away 17 is 10 degrees C. 23 take away 13 is again 10 degrees C. 27 take away 18 is 9 degrees C. And 25 take away 15 again is 10 degrees C. So to answer our question, which days had the greatest difference? It is Saturday and Sunday, and that's worth 2 marks. The final question. On Friday, there was 15 millimeters of rainfall. Convert this to centimeters. So when you set up your meters, centimeters, millimeters, we know that it goes 100 and then 10. And depending on which way we go, we either multiply or divide. So we can convert millimeters into centimeters. So we're going from small to big. We divide, and we know that the scale is 10. So we divide by 10. So 15 divided by 10 gives me 1.5. So it's 1.5 centimeters. Question 4a. One day the temperature was 31 degrees C in Spain and -1 in the UK. How many degrees warmer was it in Spain? So, with questions that involve negative numbers, if you're at all unsure, do a quick sketch of your temperatures. It doesn't have to be to scale, and it doesn't have to have every single number between them. You can just do a little sketch here and say, I know the difference between there and there is 31, and I know the difference between there and there is 1. So 1 plus 31 is 32. So there is 32 degrees C difference between the two countries. Part B. Layla's friend asks how to convert temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit, and Layla uses the flowchart below, where you put in the temperature in degrees C, multiply it by 1.8, and then add 32. And this gives you your temperature in degrees F. So it wants us to convert that temperature of 31 degrees C into Fahrenheit. So put 31 in at this end and multiply it by 1.8. Again, do this on your calculator. Don't take any chances. Which is 55.8. then take 55.8 to the next part and add 32, which is 87.8. And that's in degrees Fahrenheit. So it's 87.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Now notice I've shown some working out because there are 2 marks. If you did all this on your calculator and didn't show the process for getting this answer, you would only get one of the 2 marks. Question 5. This month there are 70% more hours of sunshine in Spain than in the UK. This month there are 168 hours of sunshine in the UK. How many hours of sunshine are there this month in Spain? So this question is about a percentage increase. So the first thing we need to do is work out 70% of the 168 hours that we get in the UK. So you can do this on your calculator using the percent button. 70 shift percent button of the 168 equals. Press the SD button and you get 117.6. So that's the 70%. So Spain is 70% increase on the UK, so we need to add the 117.6 to the UK's temperature of 168. And you get 285.6. So Spain gets 285.6 hours of sun. Question 6a looks at the journey, and the amount of carbon dioxide produced by flying is proportional to the distance flown. So 32 tons of carbon dioxide are produced from 1,000 kilometers of flight. The distance of their flight to Spain is 1,500 kilometers. How much carbon dioxide will be produced? So the relationship we have for our strap line, the thing that we know, is we've got tons and kilometers, and we know that 32 tons are produced for every 1,000 kilometers. We haven't got 1,000, we've got 1,500, so it goes on this side of our ratio. Divide 1,500 by 1,000 and you can see we've multiplied it by 1.5. Do the same to the other side on your calculator. So 32 times 1.5 gives us 48 tons of carbon dioxide. So our answer is 48 tons. Part B says a tree takes 0.02 tons of carbon dioxide a year. Layla says the amount of carbon dioxide taken in by 100 trees in 10 years will be more than enough produced by their flight. Is she correct? Well, the flight, we know, produced 48 tons. So let's look at how much 100 trees produce in 10 years. So our strapline could be the number of tons and the number of years. So for the first part, we could say one tree is 0.02 tons per year. And we're going to look at this over 10 years. So one tree over 10 years produces 0.2 of a ton. So that's a new relationship. So we know that one tree produces 0.2 tons over that 10 years. But over that 10 years, we're going to have 100 trees. So we multiply this by 100 and we multiply this by 100. Do it on your calculator, don't take any chances, and you end up with 20 tons. So the total of these 100 trees in 10 years is 20 tons. So is Layla correct? No, she's very wrong, and it's less than half of what the flight will actually produce. Question 7 says there are 189 passengers on the seats in the plane. There are two types of seat, economy and business class. 2/3 of the seats are economy. How many economy seats are there? So again, it's a fraction of an amount. It's 2/3 of the 189 seats. And again, you can do this on your calculator. So 2/3, use the fraction button. 2, rock a switch. Thirds creates the fraction. Move to the right, times 189. Press equals, and it tells you the answer is 126. So there are 126 seats. The next part says that all passenger seats are booked, and there's a ratio of children to adults of 2 to 7. So we have children first, then adults. So children to adults, the 2 goes under the children, the 7 goes under the adults. How many adults have booked? Well, we had a total of 189 people, or 189 seats, so it's a totals ratio. So we have to use the total parts of our ratio, which is 9. So 189 divided by 9, do it on your calculator, is 21. So our scale for our ratio is 21. Multiply each side by 21, and you get 42 children on the flight and 147 adults. It's asking us how many adults have booked, so it's 147. Part C. A bag to be allowed into the cabin must fit into this basket, and it's 55 centimeters by 24 by 50. Layla's bag is 480 millimeters by 560 millimeters by 200 millimeters. Is Layla's bag allowed in the cabin? Well, we need to compare like with like, so we have to convert our millimeters to centimeters. So we're going from a small unit to a big unit. We divide. If centi's 100, milli's 1,000, cancel each other out, so we need to divide by 10. So the dimensions of the bag, if we convert them in from millimeters to centimeters, are 48 centimeters by 56 centimeters by 20 centimeters. So let's look at the 3 dimensions compared to the box. Well, the 20 fits nicely into the 24. The 48 fits nicely into the 50. However, the 56 centimeters is too big for the 55 centimeter dimension, and there's no other dimension that the 56 can fit into. So Layla's bag is not allowed in the cabin. So her bag is not allowed, and the reason is because of this dimension here, which is bigger than any of the box dimensions. This is meant to be part D, but I think it was labelled E on your papers. Spain is 1 hour ahead of the UK. For example, when the UK time is 1300, Spanish time is 1400. The plane takes off at the UK at 1820 UK time. The flight lasts 2.5 hours. Layla and her friends should arrive at the apartment 1 hour after they land. She estimates they will get to the apartment by 2300 Spanish time. Is she correct? So we can use our time step method to show our working out. The takeoff time in the UK is 1820. Because Spain is 1 hour ahead, we need to add 1 hour. So the takeoff time in Spain is 1920. The flight lasts 2.5 hours, so we can add 2 hours quite easily to get 21:20, and then we need to add half an hour, which is 30 minutes. So we get 21:50. The time to the apartment is another hour after landing, so add 1 hour, and you end up with 22:50. So yes, they get there just before 2300. So yes, she is correct. This bit of the question is labelled F. It probably should be E, so let's have a look at it. Layla is looking at a map. On the map, the scale is 1 centimetre is 8 kilometres. On the map, the distance between the airport and the apartment is 4.5 centimetres. Calculate the actual distance between these two places. So the scale is your strap line. So we have a relationship between the map in centimetres and the real world in kilometres. So 1 centimetre is 8 kilometres is our strap line. We need to put something into our strap line which is 4.5 centimetres. So it goes under our map side. To get from 1 to 4.5, we've multiplied it by 4.5. Anything multiplied by 1 is itself. So all we need to do is put in our calculator 8 times 4.5. And it gives us 36 kilometres as the real distance. So 36, there's no units here, so don't forget to put in your kilometres. So the distance between these two places is 36 kilometres. Question 8 is about the apartment, and there are 2 bedrooms, and here are the plans for the 2 bedrooms. Layla wants the bedroom with the larger floor area. Which room should she choose? Show how you decide. Well, what we'll do is we'll work out the areas for the 2 bedrooms. So bedroom 1 is 6 metres by 4 metres, which is 24 metres squared. Bedroom 2 is our classic L shape. So our L shape, we've got our 2 dimensions for this section, which is 2 metres by 2 metres, so it's 4 metres squared. The other section of the bedroom is 4.2 by 5, and that gives us 21 metres squared. So for bedroom 2, the total is 21 plus the 4, which is 25 metres squared. So she should choose bedroom 2, as bedroom 2 was 25 metres squared and bedroom 1 was 24 metres squared. So bedroom 2 is 1 metre squared bigger. And that completes section B for practice paper 1 at level 1. If you have any questions on how you've completed the paper or things in the video, then please don't hesitate to ask your tutor. I hope this video has been of some use. Thank you for watching.